Okay guys, I've got a real beauty for you today. It's called UFO, Mechanism Rising, Moonbirth. Let's just run through. I guarantee you this is really gonna be an absolute mind blower. Let's go through it and I'll tell you what's gonna happen. I've made a little bit of a start already. Okay, that's a picture taken from what we're going to examine. That is literally, have a look at that. That is the mechanism that I've spoken about, but wait till you see what we've got coming up. Okay, now on this next page here, I'll just stop it. I'll read this out. Forward. The following presentation examines footage taken on the 14th of June 2014 between 6:16 p.m. and 6:24 p.m. On my way to a meeting, I thought I'd stop off along the way at a location I'd recently captured some amazing cloaked UFO activity. That was the footage I uploaded most recently of the really staticized environment atmosphere with the amazing cloud cloaking and whatnot. So I was on the way to a meeting about 5 minutes down the road past this location, and I thought I had 10 minutes to spare, so I thought I'd just go and have a little look. Now upon arrival, I noticed that across the ocean expanse covering a 5 square mile area, so that was in front of me. I'm on the edge of a little headland and I'm looking across. It's all water. I'm right on the ocean front, if you know what I mean. So looking across an ocean expanse covering a 5 square mile area were 3 main groupings of unusual lights that I watched for about 5 minutes. They were like, they were like 3 lots of 3 lights that were in a shifting triangle form, big huge triangles, but they seemed to be shifting very close to the surface, it looked like. And honestly, you're not going to trust me. Anyone who knows me and has watched my uploads by now knows that when I say I've got something pretty full on coming on, well, I've had something pretty full coming on. And this one is going to be an absolute doozy. So it's going to sound fantastic, but trust me, in 10 minutes time, I'm just going to play the raw clips first, and if you don't want to watch any more, you'll be blown away by that alone. But the reason I'm going to do that is just so that in case people haven't got a hell of a long time, like this presentation could go for 5 hours, I promise you. It's probably going to go for about an hour, and you'd be really silly to bail out after the raw clips, because the raw clips, as mind-blowing as what they will be, are only literally, they're only 10%, 25% of what happens when we do the analysis, because the analysis really will just absolutely floor you, or you'll be speechless. And then I'll make some conclusions and comparisons, and the whole thing, it just becomes one heck of a situation. Anyway, so I really advise you to stick around the whole way. But anyway, I'll keep going. Okay, so it says there were 3 main groupings of unusual lights that I watched for about 5 minutes. Then what took place I'll never forget. I had binoculars with me, as you'd expect from a guy like me if you've watched any of my recent uploads. They are always in the car, just in case I might see something. A lot of the time, I've got to be honest, I forget to take them these days, but thankfully I took them this time. After 5 minutes, I looked out and saw the following. Coming out of the water was a huge object. All the water, which seemed to be, I suppose it could have been about 3 to 5 miles in front of me. It was a fair way away. I don't know how much exactly, but it was well before the horizon, that's for sure. It was, you could see a gap between it and the horizon, if you know what I mean, just on the angle that I was on originally. And so out of the water came this huge object, about 5 or so miles out to sea. It was frothing up like a huge mile-wide surging white water. That's what the water was like, exactly what it was like. And I've lived on the beach my whole life, and I know white water. It was like there was this thing, this huge object, dark object coming out of the water. Couldn't quite discern its shape at that time, but it was massive. And the white water on the surface was just mind-blowing. And I'm going to prove all of this. It's hard to see this bit in the footage. You can't kind of see it in the original footage, the white water, but you will see what I'm talking about as far as everything else is concerned, and then in the analysis I'll show you that yes, indeed, it is coming out of the water. Okay, now as the object was surfacing on an angle, I started to notice that small wedges began to light up orange in a clockwise direction with a gap between each. So it was like going tick, 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 like it was activating, if you know what I mean, going round in little wedges in a circular pattern. It was enormous. Above the surfacing object in the sky above appeared to be a massive high bell-top UFO slightly cloaked within a cloud. And yes, it was, and again, these things pop up. That's the main one I could see. It looked like there was other things there, and other things come up on analysis. Okay, now as it rose slowly, all wedge sections turned on. It was a sight that had me and a couple of others, and which one can clearly be heard also saying unbelievable. There was a couple of other people there that witnessed it, and it was unbelievable. And what's even more unbelievable is that it literally straightened edge up, and wait for it, slowly became an image of the moon. Okay, now you're thinking no way. Well, you won't be thinking no way in about 10 minutes. And what was my first thought? Remember, I'm the guy who's done the mechanism, the moon producing mechanism. Remember that upload? There it is there. That's the moon producing mechanism. Go and have a check that out, Maxicosis. My first thought was, I've just witnessed a mechanism surfacing from out of the water and taking up position as the moon. Now you reckon that's got to be BS? Yeah? Well, lucky for us, I got about 90% of the entire event on camera, from the first wedge activation with a little tiny gap to the actual mechanisms blossoming to the fake moon stage. And the only reason I missed a little bit was because, if you can imagine, I was torn between just continuing to look through the binos. I was the only one with binos, so I got to see a hell of a lot more than the other couple of blokes. Lucky for me. But it was such an amazing sight. I was torn between just focusing on what I was seeing through the binos and taking the footage, and I couldn't, in the beginning, the first little wedges that were coming up, I didn't think they showed up on camera, so I gave it a miss for a bit, and then you know, if I know what I mean, you'll see what I mean. I actually put the phone in my pocket and moved over to get into an even better position before I kept resuming filming. So that's the only reason why there's a little bit of a gap. But trust me, you will see everything. You will see the formation of it from the tiniest little part to the full thing. You will see things that will blow you away in this footage. Okay, and yes, this is what's happening. It was forming the moon, but the thing is, guys, it came out of the water. Now right now, before I'll make more assessments and evaluations and conclusions regarding all of this at the end, based on all the other things that I believe are pertinent to what I'm saying. But trust me, I think the primary one that's come out of this for me is that what's happening is, if you look at my other presentations too, I done on the UFO. Remember the UFO moon mechanism plus coloured cloaked moon, because I always said there's like two moons, meaning of course we have the moon, but there's this mechanism that goes up and it mimics celestial objects. And I've also said, and I'm going to actually now be able to, I believe, prove this using this footage, that I've proven it's also been used to mimic a two-sun staged presentation where I pointed out all the UFOs. I put that video up for a while, got only for about a day and a half or something, and the person whose clip was in it, they weren't happy about me having done the analysis on it and all this sort of stuff. It was a brilliant analysis, so in the end I made it private, but I kind of asked for my own footage, and I've got my own footage here that will enable me to even back that up. So if you stick around, you'll see that this mechanism is being used to mimic, so far, celestial objects, and it can do a hell of a lot more. I know it can, and some of that stuff comes out here, and more will be revealed again if you keep watching. But just for now, let me just say this. I've understood, I think, one of the main reasons for this mechanism. And what you'll see, I'll show you the actual official moon rising timetable and everything. And although it's not spot on with the time, it's pretty close, which is interesting, because and what it is I believe they're putting this fake moon up to block the real coloured moon. Why? Because in this day and age, everyone's an amateur astronomer. Everyone's got high-powered telescopes, and I showed in in that piloted UFO moon, etc. Footage which we'll have a quick look at again, just in the actual coloured moon official photos, that the moon's not black and white, it's coloured. It gets cloaked with this white thing so you think it's white, okay? And of course then I went up to say we've never seen the real landing footage, otherwise we'd see it's all in colour, as the guy who done the moon rising great movies also said anyway. But I even showed it myself, and we pointed out, remember, all the objects on the structures on the moon just from the coloured one photo. They don't have barely a coloured photo of the moon on the internet, but there is one, and anyway I analysed it. Now the point I'm getting is, now though, is everybody has got telescopes and stuff, and they can see for themselves. Now I reckon there's so much activity going on the moon that we don't know about, that they don't want you looking at the moon. They don't want us looking at the moon through our own telescopes, because that cloaking breaks down, or it goes off, or it doesn't cover everything up, etc. So what they're doing at night time, when the moon's due to come through, they're blocking it with the mechanism, okay? So that you just see this mechanism moon, because it's not a hologram, okay? It's a mechanism. One of its functions is it can broadcast an image, say, of the moon, so that when you look up, you see this perfect moon, and you go, oh yeah, the moon, look, it's white, and that's perfect every time, looks exactly the same. Through all your telescopes you would be able to tell a difference, but yeah, it's actually not the moon. Now you're going to be now also thinking, no way, but if you've watched this, most of you who have watched this will be going, yeah, I can hear the guy here, because wow, you've done a great job pointing that out. You can't deny it's a mechanism. But one of its functions is, now from this footage we can deduce that it's also being used to block out the real moon, to prevent people being able to see what's going on it. Okay, now let's go. I suppose I said enough, and I'm going to make more inferences, so you really want to hang around. But if you just want to watch the clips, I'll play them for you now, and then you can go. Even that'll blow you away. But anyway, let's go. Yeah, I'm not as mad as trust me. Let's go. I must admit, I leave this on for a little bit, just to save a little bit of time. It was going to be called Birth of a Moon, but I've just called it Moon Birth. As it says here, I'll start with a couple of snippets. What I'm going to do is also just quickly show you this. Remember, this was the original footage from the moon producing mechanism when I showed it. Remember, you've seen that footage, or go have a look. I'll show you where they are at the end of the video anyway, or the titles. That was the raw footage, remember? And then that's what happened when we done the solarization analysis, which removed the lighting in the middle. Now I'll say this, and I'll say this again. When I emboss, which you'll see in a minute, it appears flat in the middle. Now, to me, that's certainly possible that the thing is hollow in the middle. Let me tell you this, it's very pliable. It's not solid round. It can move and change. They can warp it in and out and stretch it and do all these things to it. All that's going to be validated again today. However, whether it's actually hollow in the middle or not, I don't know. But the thing is about this, right? When you, and I'll show you this too, when you emboss the proper sun, say even, which we will do, you'll see that sunlight rays, big thick sunlight rays that come off the real sun, when you emboss it, they go flat. Even when it cuts across a building, right, they go flat. Now, sunlight is made of photons, and the photons don't have mass, so sunlight isn't mass. So when we turn the light off, which we've done here, and we're left with what emanates the light, instead of just the light itself, but what's emanating the light, we see that it looks hollow, okay? Now, I believe it could even be a stargate, a time-space order, it could be an electrogravitic manipulator, a geoengineering mechanism, who knows what it is, but it certainly is. All of this is definitely part of it, okay? Now, yeah, people haven't seen this next one. What I do is, see, that's before we turn the light off, that's the embossing. Look at that. See how it runs in on that depth, and look at the variation there. And now here's the interesting thing. The only time I've ever seen this colouring, okay, on an embossed image, and I'll show you this again as we go on, is when we have this mechanism. It's the only time. And the only other time I saw colouring on the embossed image was, guess what? It was when I done the analysis of the two sun video. It came up like this. Okay, again, supporting the mechanism, but I'm going to show you how they do it. Okay, even with my own footage this time, so we're real lucky. Now, next thing is then that's the solarized moon. That was when we took the light out and was just left with the outer. That's the solarized actual mechanism with the light switched off embossed. Have a look at that, would you folks? Have a look at that. We've got these multiple rings, okay, and look at the depth in it. And here's all our outer atmospheric. Now that's really telling. Okay, the only time colouring comes up on the embossed image is with this mechanism. But how's that? That's why I reckon they're like, it could be even like a Stargate type thing. It's amazing. Anyway, okay, now let's just watch the footage. We're going to watch the footage. I'm not going to say a thing, I promise. And then we're going to go back and watch it, where I'm going to point things out. There's 3 clips, okay, which is, you'll understand as we go on. As I said, I tried to catch it quickly at the very first instant, didn't really get it, stopped, and then I started to get it. So there's 3 clips. We'll watch it all. Then we'll watch them all again, where I'll point things out that I think are pertinent and we need to have a look at. And then we're going to do a brilliant analysis, and I really reckon you should stick around for that too, because it reveals even more amazing features of what's happening. Anyway, let's go. Look at that. It's going to come through. Oh God, have a go at that. Unbelievable. What a beauty. Don't worry, we'll get to see it. It's just hard to see on this first couple of quick clips. Right up above it, look at the top saucer. Have a go at that. What a oh, come through. Here we go. See it come through a bit. Won't come through. Won't come through. Come through, is it? Look at this. Absolutely. Huh, it looks like the moon now trying to break through. Sure wasn't the moon a minute ago. These round rings around the outside, this thing come out. That was amazing. There's no way that was the moon. Absolutely not. Here's this thing mimicking the moon again. I saw it coming up and it wasn't the moon. It didn't look like the moon, that's for sure. Look at it now with the red glow around the outside again. See that? That's the same red glow. It's the mechanism. That is the mechanism. There's no way that was the moon. It's artificial. All the water was just like cherry thick whitewash out in the middle of the ocean. It was amazing. Okay guys, how was that? Now let's go through and have a look at the pertinent points. Okay, let's go through and I'll point it out. I didn't think I caught it. You can hear me. So let's watch this. Let's watch this. Oh God, that gonna come through. It is actually. It comes through a little bit here. We get to see it, and I've taken stills so you can see, get to see what I mean. See, I put it in my pocket here. I thought I'm not capturing anything, but we do towards the end here. I think we get to see a little bit of it here. Straight up above it, look at the top saucer. There we go, that. What a... Okay, it was hard to tell, wasn't it? Let's try it with the other one. Let's try it with... Oh, don't worry, I've got stills and we get to see it. There it is, look. See that? That's what's in this first few seconds. Look at that. See it there? It moved around. That's when the first wedges are coming on. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that, but we blow it up. But it is, you can see it. See it? There it is again. Oh God. Have a go at that. Okay. Now, I know that's not a lot, but remember, it's a long way away. And now you can see why I didn't think it was coming through. Now let's watch the second clip. Because remember I said it came on as little wedges? And they come through. Come on. You can see it again. Look at that. See that little orange bit? See the little dot? It's not hard, it's not easy to see, but come through. Come on. It won't come through. Look, see it there? And again, see our little dot? That's how it started. Just this tiny little round dot. Okay. Won't come through. So it was coming through. That was the original. Now let's watch the footage. Remember, this was probably about, I don't know, maybe anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute later. At the most. At the very, very most. Come through, is it? Now immediately look at this, see this bar along the top? Okay, and look at this frothy bit here. We're going to blow these up, don't worry, it gets a lot easier, but it's what I'm saying. It didn't come up on the horizon, folks. It came out of the water, right in front of where the moon would technically land. I point out, you watch. Sources in the air, we get to see everything under analysis. It's an amazing situation. But just look at that fixed bar. Now look at the way it blows up quickly into like a full moon and then goes down again. See that? See the way it blows up and then it goes back down again? It looks like the moon now trying to break through. Sure wasn't the moon a minute ago. Now look at it goes down again. Again, look at this fixed bar. Now look at this capping that starts to form, and along the top and the bottom that's going a purple, and then we're getting a reddish capping going over the top, and that bar is still there. Remember, it's a long way away. It's pitch black at night, so it's great that I could get it. I'm only on a phone camera. These round rings around the outside. Did you hear that? That's the other bloke there saying unbelievable. You ready? Let's hear that again. These round rings around the outside. Hear that? Unbelievable. So someone else. Now listen, this is interesting. Look at the shape of this thing. See the big dent in here and go around? We analyse that. Does that look like the moon to you? Look at the dent. Let's keep going. This thing come out. That was amazing. There's no way that was the moon. Absolutely not. Now look at this. Look at this light that's been pumped out of the side. That is raw footage, uncontaminated. And look at the mechanism capping, the outer extremes of the mechanism. And this is what we're going to rotate, and I'll show you how they've done the 2 sun video using this mechanism. Let's keep going. We blow these up and geez, it looks awesome. That's what I'm saying, you really want to stick around. Look at the way that side light's coming out. Now look at this bar here. See this bar here? We'll blow it up. There is a stick, like a bar, and in the end it becomes a semicircle out a rim. But look at that. That's raw footage. That's not a distortion, like, you know, I've stopped it and it smudged the image. This is raw, unsmudged. It's not out of focus. I saw it coming up and it wasn't the moon. See this bar here? Look at this bar here again. Look at that's raw stretching. Look like the moon, that's for sure. Look at it now with the red glow around the outside again. Look at, I want you to notice this capping. See, this, remember, this isn't cloud. This is part of it. Now, if it was the moon, why would the moon have a straight edge which becomes jagged when we blow it up? Cap that permanently goes along the top. And look at this bar here. There's a bar there. Let alone the shape of it. See that? That's the same red glow. And the red glow, of course, our red glow. Look at that bar there on that little snap. Trust me, guys, I've done about 60 snaps and we're only going to analyse about 8. Okay, so I could do this could go for 5 hours easy. There is so much to see. Every little snap reveals another little tiny little thing, but I've picked what I think are the best ones and that are indicative of the main points, and we'll analyse those. But again, focus on the fact that there is a fixed capping on an angle going across the surface. Point being, if this was the real moon rising, there'd be no fixed capping on an angle on the top of it. It would have no bar on the side of it, and it would have no cap, mechanistic, it's all mechanism. That is the mechanism. Again, the capping is fixed, folks. Look at it on the angle. Bar on the side. Or what looks like a bar. It's actually one of the mechanism's outer rings. Again, that shape is the shape it was in at the time before it fully blossomed into the moon. Important here, please, I want you to notice, see this vector? See this vector coming down across here and going through there. There is a vector. Okay? Look at this capping now, how it goes down and up, like there's an even more angle in on it. Look at the capping there. The vector. Multiple mechanisms are producing this. Look at the capping again. I mean, this is fixed over what, 3 or 4 minutes. It's obviously not cloud. Look at mechanistic synopsis taking place underneath as well. There's no way that was the moon. Now it's artificial. It's still on the water. Pretty much, it's just come out of the water. It's like all down here will be water. Look at the vector there. See the vector? And look at, again, the capping's now got 2 or 3 little edges on it. And look at the red. Look at the red part of the mechanism. Now,
the water was just like huge, big white.
I flashed the camera away. I was talking,
Remain.
and now this, the film didn't stop, obviously. But now, what? 3 seconds later, it's fully forming our moon. We've got our bar still visible, or outer ring separate from the moon, still visible on the outside. Right, now I left at this point in time because I had to go to my meeting. I just timed it perfectly, absolutely timed it perfectly, like the whole thing was done for me. They didn't have to have it come out of the water. They could have had it come out of, they could have had it just chasing, you know, they could have had it a minute and a half ahead of it coming up over the horizon, blocking out the moon. I think also they put like a black cloak over the moon just to help, but they put this thing right in front of it. So, and the brilliant thing about this is a stealth technology, just like the B-2 bomber. It's stealth. So on all the astronomy apps, on all the, except for military satellite, this thing most likely doesn't even come up on any satellite images. You just see the normal moon going round, okay, the normal coloured moon that's got all this mining and structures on it that I've pointed out before, and so have others. Although I just like to do my pointing out from the one official coloured snap. I don't, all these videos we see about the moon, I don't know about any of them. How could I? I'm not saying they are or they aren't fake, but I know the official, you know, the videos I'm talking about are the videos that appear on the internet that say, oh, you know, there's structures on the moon. Maybe there's some, maybe some of them, that footage, who knows? I didn't take it. I don't know who took it and all that sort of stuff. I can't comment on that. I can only comment on an official NASA colour photo of the moon, which validated all of my stuff that I pointed out as far as structures. But see the way it's now formed the moon. It becomes a full moon. I had to go probably within another 30 seconds or a minute. It become a nice big round, how you going moon. And of course, when I came out of this, where I went to for an hour or so, by that time it had risen right up into the sky and become our perfect white looking moon. Okay, all right,
True, is it?
so
Look at it.
let's stop that now. I'm just going to have a quick breather before we go into the analysis. Okay guys, we're back now. Just please just remember that it all looks like it goes together pretty easy when I finish, but a lot of work I put into these, like the original. Look at all these stills that I took, and that's just a snippet of them, okay, and in the end I have to go through all of them, find the best one, do a couple of, you know what I mean, and then I have to do more folders and more folders and more folders so that I can then put them into categories like the clips and then the extras that are associated, then the ones for analysis, and the ones that I've done some pre-donners as well. But let's go, so anyway, let's go into the first clip. We'll do them a clip at a time. I've picked out a couple, see, for use. You'll see out of every one, out of like here, this little bit here, again, if we blow that up, you can see it's there. See, that was like where it started. That's not much, I know. There it is again, and there it is again, okay, and you can see it moving around there. See that? If we do that, that's how it started. That's why I said it was like one wedge, but I didn't think it was coming out on the film. But see that? Wait till we do some analysis, because I got some good ones. These are the ones we've gone in for analysis. I picked one, which is this one in this instance, right? And let's do the analysis. Okay, let's go. Because the bit I really wanted to try and prove was, okay, I've proved the mechanism and it's mind-blowing and all of that, but I really wanted to prove it came out of the water, because it was so dark that it's Now, of course that didn't come up, but it just did, man. As I said, I've been around the water my entire life, and I know huge mid-ocean whitewash when I see it. Now, let's start. Let's do an auto fix. Bang, here we go. Okay, see what I mean? Look at this. This here, look at this line. Boom. This is, and remember, look at it. This was just the first dot, so it hadn't risen. It was just technically, if it was the moon, okay, and it was the first little bit of the moon, we wouldn't have a straight white line. This is going down. This is like penetrating down, okay. And look up the top here. This pink bits is craftage, okay, and they're as I said, they were slightly cloaked, but these are like two little sources. But look at this and look at the pink around it already, okay. Just remember that. Let's cancel that. I'm not going to go through 100,000 things with the first couple because I want to move on. Okay, now nothing's really going to come up on an emboss with a tiny little image like that. But I want you to notice these two. Let's blow it up a bit for you. Let's blow it up. Here we go. Can we go one more for the viewers at home? One more for the viewers at home. I want you to notice this. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that. See this little arc? This is what this thing came out of the water, like a plate coming out on its side, on a tilted edge. So it didn't come out where it becomes flat, looking at us type thing as the moon. It came out the other way, just on its edge. But I thought in the beginning it looked like a big triangular object, but then it started activating its lights, because remember it was dark. It was just this big black object that came out of the water, and then look, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's exactly how I explained it too, wasn't it? It was like they switched on like little lights with a gap between each. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the sort of thing that I saw, and then this is part of it as well. Obviously, that's the main thing. Now, if we emboss it, I don't think we're going to know. It's very hard to tell. We can see there's little dots there, there's little dots there, there's where the activity is, there's a little dot there. Anyway, this is again verifying what I'm saying. Don't worry about this big. I thought this was part of it. I think it could be part of it, but I think it could also be part of my screen, unfortunately. So I got really excited about that, but that blotch there could actually be part of the screen, so I apologize about that. Let's go back. Let's see what invert does for us. Well, invert verifies that, and it is hard to see for you guys, I know, but there's a little dot here, a little dot here. We've got some little activity here, a little activity here, and I've got some real good ones too. Wait till we get there. I got some special little ones that we caught mid-snap, but because there's so much good ones to go, we don't want to waste too much time here. Solar Rising again just came out with these little dots. It showed us the little dots that were there. Here's this yellow band. Look at it. It's running down. Okay, I believe that's been viewed. There's another little dot here. See, there was activity around it. Look, boom, boom, boom. It's quite a show. This could be the far right-hand side of it that I've only just came through, while these are the other main parts of the mechanism as it's come out of the water. This big, big thing. Okay, so let's cancel that. So I just wanted to give you a quick look at that, guys. That was all okay. And again, look at this straight band. This straight band, you know, the only other time I've seen the straight band, the Two Sun video. Anyway. Let's go. Now let's close this, shall we? Let's go to the second clip, which was the second clip, and we'll again, I took lots, then I picked the best ones. Now the beauty here is, wait till you see what we get to see here. Let's go 116 raw. 116 raw. Hang on a minute, that's not 116, that's 161. I want 116 raw. Well, let's start with 2665. 2665, that's this one. Let's start with the raw, because I like to walk you through it. So this is you know, 15, 20 seconds raw, or maybe 30 seconds, or within 30 seconds of the first clip and the second clip. They were only both short clips, as you noticed, but very, very, very early on in the thingo. Now the great thing about this still that I snapped is that it really shows you like what I saw from a distance, just one wedge coming on quickly, like really one, even though there were these other ones that were probably in the picture that were in earlier stages of activation perhaps, which is why they've left a little bit of a mark, that came on one notch at a time. Now here I really reckon I've caught a notch coming on. Okay, and this really reveals some good stuff, this one too, because what I wanted to do is I really wanted to show you the watery, which I can't show you because I didn't have enough thingo obviously, but I was so far away as far as and in the dark the big surge of water, it was like, it looked like it was a 5 foot, which is a big high surge, you know, from your floor to the roof of your house, at least high, like surge of water around this thing coming up and out. But bang, here's a good one. Have a look at this again. We're seeing that, but look at these blue dots down here. Can we blow this up and craftage up the top, being cloaked out? Let's blow this up for you. Now, see what I mean? Here's the blue dots. I was so happy to see them because remember the original was just a tiny little dot, but it was coming out of the water, and we have more red dots. This is all part of the mechanism, and it's coming out of the water. This is what this shows. This is going down through the water that's even come up on the auto fix. But look at the activity around it for that tiny little thing, even on an auto fix. Hey, this is a great one because it shows there was more. And remember, okay, remember, if it was a tiny little dot of the first speck of a natural moon rising, okay, we wouldn't have any of this. None of this would be in the picture. It'd just be this tiny, tiny little dot, and maybe you'd see some light just starting to come out in that semicircular or like that pattern, as it just had a little bit of lighting up the ocean in front of it. You wouldn't have any of this mechanism action coming up here at all. So that's been a really good one to verify that I believe that yes, it was coming out of the water, folks, right in front of where they've stored this thing under the water. That's where they must hide it. That's one of the things they can do with it. They can hide it under the water, and of course they can just take it up into the sky and fly it. As I said, I was even a little bit, you know, I'll say this for the absolute 1000th and last time hopefully this video, I have never ever 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 stated Nibiru is or is not coming, and I still don't, because I just don't know. But now, having known that this mechanism is up there, and that it's being used to mimic celestial objects, that I believe I'm continuing to prove again, even more so in this presentation. So far, to block the moon by looking like the moon and looking like the sun, to make it look like two suns. If they flew this thing way out into the outer solar system and turned on the SOHO imaging, what would it look like coming in on a SOHO image? A giant spacecraft? A second sun? Come on, let's be honest. Throw in a little bit of geoengineering with HARP technology, hey? All of a sudden you've got a second sun coming in, global earth-shattering events, all courtesy of geoengineering. And there was a guy, I'm going to give credit to, I don't know his name, but please go on YouTube and search geoengineering lecture by some doctor, because he really does a ripper, an absolute ripper, of showing how geoengineering or weather, or weaponized weather modification has been going on for a long time. So if you throw in geoengineering with a mechanism that can be thrown out anywhere, and all of a sudden even if Nibiru wasn't coming, or even if Nibiru is still coming, but it's not coming when they want it to come, or it might be coming in the 2060 or 2080, which is what I thought, judging by Sitchin's analysis anyway, was I'd done some maths on that and I came up with about 2060 or 2080, and I thought he said that as well. But obviously maybe not the case, because and again, all these SOHO images and all this other evidence that people have put on the internet saying Nibiru's coming, it looks pretty darn credible. So I'm not for 1 minute saying that every bit of evidence they've got is this mechanism. I'm not. I can't make that clearer. All I'm pointing out to you, ladies and gentlemen, is let's also be considerate of this possibility. If Nibiru is still coming, or if Nibiru isn't coming, either way, totally independent to that possibility, and totally independent to all the evidence that other people have painstakingly put on, that shows images of what looks like that looks like possibly a second sun entering or going around our sun and all of that. That all may be 100% valid. I'm not saying it isn't, okay? And I'm not going to be walled off by anyone because I'm saying that Nibiru's not coming and it's all this mechanism. I'm not saying that. I'm not, and I refuse to be wallied by that. What I'm saying is, independent to that, however, imagine they took this mechanism, put it out there, the thing can, look what it can do. Obviously they could park it next to Mars or Jupiter or God knows whatever else I wanted to do with it. Take some SOHO images, throw in some geoengineering, and all of a sudden we wouldn't know any better either, would we? We could have a whole Nibiru's coming, look at it affecting the planet situation. That's all I'm saying. So, geez, I wonder if that could be what's going on. Remember again, the alien deception, the alien deception, the alien deception. I pointed it out and spoken about it before. The alien deception, where Von Braun said to his secretary, "You wait, the fifth thing's going to be an alien deception." And then of course we've got the crop circle where they've got the face and the big disc next to it that says "still time, raka raka raka, much time for deception," or whatever. So that's all I'm saying. These are things that you have to consider anyway, okay? And you have to consider all of that. And who's behind this? I don't know. Okay, I don't know, but I do know that our government, a lot of the exotic technology that you see in the air, if we all saw the latest and greatest Russian, German, United States, Chinese, Indian, etc.'s top secret flying machines and technology, if you saw it in action, you'd think it come from another world, but it was made right in the labs of those countries. That's all I'm saying, and I've always said that UFO does not spell flying saucer from outer space. It spells unidentified flying object. It may be secret government stuff. It may be what I call, I won't go into it again here, but the extra-Earth-based terrestrial logical influence theory that I've had. Watch the other videos to get more on that, where you only need 2 points in time exhibiting the same level of advanced knowledge, and we have it in the Giza pyramid and we have it today in our secret projects. Do the logical influence. Why would they build just the pyramid? They had everything we had back then. Now it could be them, it could be a combination of extra Earth-based terrestrials and secret technology at the moment of the latest throw of the dice of man on the surface, or maybe it is all alien. Maybe this is all alien technology being used to deceive us. I don't know. But anyway, let's move on. I've made my point. Okay? And I don't know if Nibiru is still or still not coming, and all the other evidence does not say that it is or isn't this mechanism. I'm just saying, knowing what we know now about the capabilities of this mechanism, I have to have an open mind about what else and where else they're putting it. Okay. Let's cancel that. Now let's just quickly go through. Inverting shows our situation. There's a couple of other little scenario-opticisms over here. Let's move on. Now again, I could go for hours, but obviously we won't. Solar rising hasn't had a massive impact on this one. And this is, and I'm doing this on, I mean, I knew this would come up. I'm doing it on purpose because I want you to see the changes in activity that take place in the solarization and the auto fixing at different points in time, depending on what mechanisms have been activated upon this. You know what I'm saying? So let's cancel that. But it is there. You can just, it's hard to see here, but you can see the outer imaging, and again there's a stripe that goes down there. Anyway, okay, let's close this up. Let's move on to the main clip, folks. Geez, I took 154,000. They were just the two. That was another solarization image that I took. I couldn't find it. Remember, I thought it was in the pack, but it must have been in the other pack. But this was our image 116 taken at 6:15 and 19 seconds. Again, you can see that. Look again, 1, 2, 3 little dots down here showing something else underneath that was all a part of this production. Cloaked ufology action Jackson, blue dots up here over the top, big bell synopsis. Okay, let's go. Let's go to the main ones. For analysis, to use MR, main use. Alright, what will we go for first? That's a ripper. Shall we start? That's at the start. That's at the start. Then of course this is where it looks like, I'll show you how we can rotate this and make it into two suns. We're going to look at this bar. We're going to look at those definitely. That's at the end. This is a ripper, but I have that again. Look at this bar here, folks. Have a look. Let me just quickly blow this up for you. Aye? Oh, that's a little bit too far, isn't it? Look at this bar. And look at the dents in here as the mechanism goes round. Look at the walling of the mechanism, the ring there. Look at the wedge that goes down and across there. This thing came out of the water like the big wedge, like this big wedge thing must have been even what come out of the water. And it opened up like a big jaw. And out come the mechanism. Remember I said there was massive, three big massive craft, triangular lights, boom boom boom, like they were on the edges of three huge craft that were in the, you know, that all seemed to be a mile on either side of it. But look at this big wedge here. This thing lifted up out of the ocean, opened up, and out comes the mechanism. Yeah. Because that actually looks like the tilt now, the more I see it, of what I was talking about. Remember I said it come out like a big on its, this big object come out on its edge, and then boom, out of it comes the mechanism. But look at this bar. We analyse all of this. Look at that. Even now, imagine, is that a, God, look at the bars on either side there. Geez, that's interesting. Let's just quickly see that, guys. Look at the bars on either side. That's the outer rings of the mechanism. Isn't that interesting too? That was a good one for that. Let's start here, because this is the first. This is when, of course, it's just, look, again, there's the big edge. It's just, they're releasing it out. Oh, this is why it was in the water. This is even proving it even more. This big thing come out of the water, man. And even that froth in front, if that was the moon, it would have a straight, wouldn't it? Coming over, it'd be straight. But the froth, I reckon, is not only the mechanism, it could even be giving us slight indicators of the, we'll blow that up. Look, see the wedge? It's coming out. Mechanism, early stages. Let's analyse. Anyway, we came out of the water. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's blow it up a bit for you. I think if I go over here and I go over here, there we go. We won't bother going too big. There's no real need to go too big. Want to go one more? Okay. Let's do an auto fix. Wow. Look at that. Hi. We have all sorts of activity. Ah, look at the wedge. Look at the side of the wedge. Coming down. coming out of the water, ladies and gentlemen. If that was the moon, a round moon, what's the wedge doing here? Huh? What's this wedge, folks? Look at the shape of it. How do you explain that? Look at this notch. Mechanism. Remember I said the mechanism seems pliable. It's not like a solid round ringed structure. It's like a tie tube. It can be squashed and hernied and burted. Look at the activity coming out of the water. That's been a good one to verify what I'm saying. Look at this straight line here. Remember the jaws of the mechanism? Like it was two hands together opening up to release us, the Mechicano. Let's cancel that. Let's go on. Let's do an emboss quickly. Well, I like this because it shows the depth going in there, okay, and then in the middle. Now let's make this clear, okay, and again, see the colouring? There's a colouring there. It never comes up, and I'll prove it to you. Don't worry. We'll do a couple of sun photos I took, and you'll see that in real sun photos, there's no this inner mechanism thing. Is it empty on the inside? Does that mean it's empty because it's flat? I think it is. So when I say empty, I think they can manipulate the inside to produce all sorts of things within there. Trust me, I think we've seen that already. But I think in essence, before they activate and generate things on the inside, I think it opens up and it's hollow, and that's why it's flat. Because again, I'll prove it, but a sunlight ray will go flat even across a building in an embossed image, meaning that the light, because it's light, it goes flat. So, and the light has no mass. So that could mean, of course, that's what I'm saying, that it's just light and there's no actual mass in there unless they generate something to go in there. In its natural form, the mechanism is just that. And of course, they turn on the moonlight like a hologram on the inside, but it's not a hologram moon. It's a moon. It's a mechanism that can make holographic images of the moon, or it's a mechanism that can generate an internal thing that looks like a big ball of heat energy like the sun. Anyway, again, look at that structure. Let's go back. Invert. Again, look at the wedge. The wedge is present, and we've got our action Jackson. Let's cancel that. Let's solarize. Okay, bang. We're getting to see the blue ring coming through in the middle with one more ring around it with a red ring. And we got the big action Jackson. It's all starting to take place. Okay, let's close this. Okay, let's close this. Now, let's go, what do we want to do next? Okay, we'll do one of these quickly, because this is funny, isn't it? It went from this, and remember it just blew up a bit to this with its notch, and then it went back to the real, these are great ones we do, it went back to the mechanism, and this side bubble blew out the side. Completely independent, and again, it's not a smudged image. I proved that by the raw footage. It really comes out the side. But let's do this one quickly. Let's just do it quickly. Let's do it really quickly. I mean, I've done all this myself, but I want to show you guys. Let's do an auto fix. Wow, see, isn't that interesting? In this particular one, there's no auto fix. Now, that's just, there's no other activity detected. Isn't that interesting? That's very interesting, isn't it? But we can see that it's not. So what we're saying here is we could say, well, wow, they've switched on a big cloaking-like thing. An extra cloaking thing kicked in at this stage, which blacked out our capacity to determine things. Who knows? That's all interesting. Let's go. Let's emboss. Bang, look at that. That's good. Let me blow it up a bit for you. That's a good one. Look at that. Again, look, you can almost see the rings going in. 1, 2, 3, 4 rings. Look at this. This is a ripper. This is what I'm pointing out. Look at this straight ring. And look, the colour. The two colours, the depth going in, but in the middle, and look at this big notch here. Let's blow this up again. Let's go. Look at that, guys. You're going to tell me that's the round moon that we grew up with? Look at this big notchatron. Look at this. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 rings, 5 rings, maybe, if we can see another ring in there. But look at those straight lines. I told you to stick around for the analysis, didn't I? Hey, unbelievable. Have a go at this. Yeah, let's go back. Let's keep moving. Inversion. Wow. What have we got? Our outer 3 lines come up again. 3 different depths are coming in. 1 depth, 2 depths, 3 depths associated with the rings. And look at the way it bends, this thing, like a tie tube. Like a tie tube. On the inside seems to be indicative of the empty space, although I'm not going to be held to that. Does that mean mass or something? I don't know. I think it's indicative of empty space. As again, I'll prove to you in other ways. I think this is a big round tie tube that's like 5 tie tubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 4 tie tubes or something that are all, you know, one tube on the outside of the outside on the outside that is also slightly depthed in, if you know what I mean. I'm sure you do. Wow, what an image. Let's finish off with a solarize. Wow. Hey, what have we got, folks? What have we got? Let's have a quick one. Let's open up a new one here just to make it easier for us. Let's go. Let's go. These are all my UFO stuff. You'd be amazed what I've got. Wait for that one. Let's go. The deception mechanism. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Hey. Now you know why I called it mechanism rising, moon birth. I'm not sounding like I was making big calls now, am I, in the introduction? Let's go, let's move on. I might just keep that handy. Don't worry, we look at some of these things later on. That's why I just said I'll show you the clip straight away, and I've pre-planned all of this for you, that's all. So that if you wanted to just watch the clip you can, but I hope you're all appreciating the extra analysis effort, and I hope you're also really glad that you decided to keep watching, because how aren't we revealing just so much more. Okay, now let's just leave that one. Let's go back to the original, because this is where we want to go. Okay, so we've done the first 2. Now let's just say pick. What do you want to do? Shall we pick? Let's close this, because I don't want to get confused. I think we're going to do that. I think we'll also just take that. That's how it was, but I've got that one in a different. So we've done that. We've done that. Now let's pick one of these. We got that one. I want to do that one because the wedge is right in, and I want to point out the top cap, and that's the end. So that's that one. But let's do this. This is the one. What a ripper. What a ripper. It shows the mechanism with this cap over it, the bars. What's this, folks? What's this? Shall we blow it up for you? Won't go too big, there's no need to. It loses a bit of clarity. Look at this. Hey, it popped out the extra side. Imagine we put a capping over here, which we've proved they can do, and what do you got? 2 suns. But anyway, look at the outer thing there. We've got our ring there again. Let's do an auto fix. Whoa! Have a go at that. Hey? Look at this. Look at this other activity all around it too. Have a go at that. Hey? Whoa, man. And look at the little saucers. 1 saucer, 2 saucer, 3 saucers. Big bell saucer. The big bell saucer, I said, was up the top. Hi. Isn't this incredible? Look at that. The big bell saucer is up the top. The little saucers here. And the mechanism. Have a go at that. Coming out of the water. There's the jaw snap one. Jaw snap across. You can just see it too. Well, by now this thing comes so out of the snappers that it's obviously coming out and popping above and beyond the bottom jaw now. It's lifted up and out of it. Hey? At least on the bottom. The bottom's lifted up and out of it. This is what we're showing here. The bottom's come out first in front of the bottom jaw, and the top jaw is still at this stage rested across. It hasn't come out from behind, if that's the way to put it, the top jaw. It may appear of this thing that was in the water, this super magucha. Hey, look at the little saucers. 1, 2, 3. They're even saucer shaped with the little bowl in the middle. And our big fella up the top. Oh man, what a top one, Tomo. Okay, let's wallace that off up. Now let's just keep going. Let's do an emboss. Wow, same thing. Same thing. Come here. Again, oh, look at the straight edge of the top jaw. I'm only using the word jaws to. I'm really glad the jaws have come out, because this shows you now that this thing did come out of the water. And we've seen all this before, haven't we, folks? We've seen all that before. We've seen all that before. We've seen all that before. Fake moon emboss. Seen that one. Let's close that. We've seen all that before. Okay, let's go back. Let's just invert. Yeah. Thanks for coming. Let's cancel that. Remember here, this rim thing again. Look at the notchatrons. Solarize. Boom. Mechanism. I lost the mechanism. Anyway, there it is. Mechanism. Okay. Where am I? Now, let's just please quickly do this one. I could do lots, okay, but I'm trying to just really highlight different aspects, that's all. I mean, as you can see with this, look at it, look at the jaws now, and again we've got our rim, but here, look at that. I mean, if that was the moon, it doesn't have a fixed. Anyway, we all know by now that's not the moon. This is the mechanism being put up. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to show you the official moon rising times. We're going to check it against the official time of the video, and it will validate what I'm saying, that this thing was brought up out of the water well before the horizon, may I say, because I could see it all, as I said, and I could see the big whitewashes that come out of the water. And of course the real moon would have risen maybe a minute or two behind it and been blocked out by the mechanism so that you can't see that the moon's coloured. Maybe they've turned the cloaking off, the white cloaking off, as I pointed out in the other video, just leaving the coloured moon and all the structures on it, which they don't want everybody now, and every kid's got a telescope that can see that stuff. 200, 300 years ago it didn't matter. Only 1 out of every million people had a telescope, or 1 out of every 10 million had a telescope. That's why those early astronomers said they saw lights and stuff and strange anomalies on the moon, remember? And they all got silenced. No, you're imagining things. Well, these days I have to put up this. But that, as I said, it's not its only function, is to mimic the moon. It's got more functions. But let's have a go. Let's give it a go. Let's have a quick one. Let's have a go. Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Do 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 do. Let's have a look. We've got our jaws. We've got our fixed lip. We've got our ring coming through the side. The reason I picked this too wasn't just the jaws, but I like this front shaperage. That's what I wanted to really check out under analysis with you. I haven't had a look at this one under analysis. Now, isn't that funny? Autofix hasn't brought up any of the other stuff. Now, what can we deduce from that is that the mechanism and the UFOs are absolutely manipulating and cloaking and doing all their magic while this whole thing was going on. It's a major production. That's why there were ships over the side, ships over the side. And remember when I did point it out, if enough people kind of say, you know, we want you to remake the two-sun analysis that you done, because I made it private because they said, oh, you used our footage and you shouldn't be able to do that and all that sort of stuff. And I've kind of let them know, listen, okay, I took it off. I've got my own footage now. I'm proving it anyway that two-sun thing was the mechanism. But I really proved it in it. But the point being is, it's just an incredible situation. Oh, in that two-sun thing, I pointed out all the UFOs that were cloaked around the two-sun production, helping to generate and make it all happen. And it's funny, they came back and said, oh yeah, you've done a great job pointing all of that out. They were really happy for me to point all of that out, but no, it wasn't the mechanism. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I got nothing against those people who took it. It was a great bit of footage. Yeah. If I didn't know about the mechanism and cloaked UFOs, but anyway, I won't go into it. I had a 30-year education you don't get in universities. That's why anything I show you is only about 2% of what I could, but I can only talk about what I've got on video and photograph. Otherwise, imagine I just came on and put a picture of the moon and said, guess what, guys? I saw this thing come out of the ocean, out of the jaws of this giant, big, huge UFO, underwater, submerged USO, and there was big triangular craft on either side of it a mile away, and a huge big bell UFO on top, and little UFOs about, and it came out like in notches on an angle, and then it turned into the moon, and now look, it's the moon. Imagine I told a story like that. You'd go, dude, psych ward. But hey, that's why I call myself Maxicosis, because for the first 29 years I never filmed anything. And any time I tried to tell anyone about the things I'd seen, and trust me, for as mind-blowing as this is, I'm being really honest with you when I say this is a 1 out of about 20 compared to what I've experienced. But anyway, the point being is they can call it psychosis all they want when you got no proof, but once you've got the proof, it's maxicosis. Anyway, let's go. So what are we going to do here? That was the autofix. Interesting, didn't really do a hell of a lot in this instance. Let's go. Emboss. Again, all the signs of the mechanism. All the signs of the mechanism. What are you doing way over there? And other stuff's coming through here. See all of this, that's all the other activity, but it'd be probably a bit hard for you to see, but we could go into all of that. They're all indicators, of course, of the other activity. But where's our friend gone? Come on. I see, I may have gone. Where are you? I lose it sometimes, sorry about that. Let's go back. Where are you? There you are. Why would you do that to us? Let's just go. Everybody wants to have a look. Don't be naughty. One more. Okay. Check that out. Isn't that interesting? Mechanism, anyway. Mechanism. Let's go back. rise mechanism. You can see the arms of the wedge. Isn't it? It's like two hands, clapped hands opening up, held together. Mechanism internal. Alright, now the only other thing I want to show you before we then move on to bigger and wider inferences and backups and all that sort of stuff. I'm a little bit wallied off here because okay. Please have a look. Let's run through this. This is all from the photos of this day, the 16th of the 4th. Okay, you can see the date 16th. So it's all to do with that. This is some stuff I've done previously. I just want to show you because what I want to show you. Let's just go. I'll explain it as we go. That was another one. Embossing. Look at the three straight lines. Look at that. Incredible. Look at this. Look at the edging. Bang. Running around. That's not the moon, folks. Look at the big upper jaw, if we like to call it that. Look at that one. Hey, have a go at that. Look at that. Mechanism rising out of the water to form a moon on this occasion. Next one. Another one. Look at the outer ring. Same action, Jackson. Next one. I've done this one because I wanted to really highlight. Look at the notch. Again, the tire analogy, top jaw, depth dispersal, mechanism colours, mechanism. Inside, light. We know it's light because we've seen it squashed and opened up like a tyre. So I think we can affirm that when the mechanisms in this activation capacity anyway, it's what it is. It's the pliable, flexible outer multi-ringed depth mechanism that broadcasts an image across its surface, and on this occasion the moon, other occasion the sun. I think it can also bring mass into. I think it could probably generate things inside here to even mimic mass or not. But hey, I'm not a top-notch, top-secret scientist. In fact, I'm just a school scientist. School scientist. I go to uni, but it's in a different discipline. Okay. The early one again, that was another one. I thought this was interesting because it says some notes. That's in the early stages. Look at this one. That's another mechanism bonanza. Mechanism synopsis. Mechanism. That was a similar photo to that. As I said, I took 3,846 and a half bloody stills. Another one. We could have gone through these, but I want to show you something really. This is it. Okay, this is what I want to show you. I haven't done anything here in the photo analysis. You know how these next four happen? When I was playing the video and I would go stop start to get this, to stop it on a new spot to take a snapshot for the stills. That, I don't know how else to get my stills. These take hours for me to put these together. Absolutely hours, like 16 hours or something. It took me the last couple, each one 16 hours of just going through all this stuff to produce a 1.5 hour or whatever bloody thing. But anyway, this, when I was doing the stop start on 4 or 5 occasions, it stopped mid frame, if you like, and look at what came through. Look at that mechanism. But how interesting. This is like a mid raw file. I haven't touched it, but look at that. Not like direct frame after frame after frame. It happened every 30 seconds or so through the 4-minute video. I got these. Look at our lines and rings. How's this? I mean, remember that one I got of the the UFO one, the UFO the UFO one where I show the piloted UFO and all that sort of stuff, and I got that really good image down the beach, which I suppose we could just show you. I got that really good image down the beach. That was the piloted, and again we're going to that. I want to finish this first because there's more to show you. There's things I want to show you. Now, what's the other one? We're in there. Let me just look. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I'd rather keep that there because we're there. Let me just go here. Let me just go here. This one. See this one? That was another mid-snap. And remember what we revealed here? Wasn't this brilliant? And the inside, it was like a caught mid-snapper. Remember that? That was unreal. Watch that video. I'll show you the videos before we go. I'm not going to play them, but I'll show you what their titles are. But that is indicative, folks, of these, is what I'm saying. That's why I took you there. So what I'm saying is that nothing was done. Just like with that one, that's raw. No analysis applied. And we showed that there was all this other ufological activity going on, and that inside the light on this occasion we could see the structure of the solid craft. And that this light here again, remember, it came up flat because this part was empty. No, because we said it could have been, doesn't mean that there's no mass in there, maybe not. Maybe the point I'm trying to point out is when you emboss a light, when you emboss a light, it always goes flat, including sun rays, big wedging sun rays across buildings, whatever. It cuts through the building and it goes flat. So light makes it look flat, is what I'm saying, and light has no mass. That's the point. A sun ray itself has no mass. So I proved that. I looked it up on the internet in 1,415 different official bloody science journals to validate that sunlight, photons themselves have no mass. The sun might have mass, but the light doesn't. So we can't determine necessarily from the embossing and the solarization, say, well, from the embossing anyway, that it's hollow or not where the light is. Only that it seems to be indicative of hollowness possibility, as well as just because it's just the light and maybe there's mass. You know what I'm saying. In the big picture, that tiny little debatable point, only because I don't know, okay, I'm just being honest and putting it all out there. Let's go back, let's wally this one, we get confused. What's this? Let's just quickly, what's this? Okay, we can close that now because that's, okay, let's stick with these. So there's another one of them showing our straight lines, and another one, again, different times. Look at it, man. Mechanism rising, birth of a moon. Mechanism rising, birth of a moon, side light. Again, let's do a flippertron. Okay, let's flip this and imagine we really straightened it up, and I put a capping across the top of here, okay, which I proved in the two-sun thing. But anyway, I can prove it now with my own footage. How good's this? We put that capping with all that technology across here, and we film it, and it looked like, what? A second sun was up above the bottom sun. They were stretching it like they are in this footage, and what we call it. It almost feel like they made this for me. They didn't have to have it come out of the water. They could have just had the thing come a minute ahead of the moon over the horizon. But anyway, the magic was I just turned up at the right time, and look at this. Okay, let me have a quick pause before I just back up and show you some more little imprints. I mean, pretty much everything I wanted to show you about the actual event on this night, just to do with the footage and photo analysis, I've done, and I hope you're happy with what I've done, and I hope you can see now that I wasn't exaggerating when I said that this is going to shatter everything you might have known about what's possible. But there's some more great stuff to come. So I've probably only got another 15 or 20 to go anyway, so you're best off to stick around, okay? Because more good connections are made. But I'm just going to pause it for a sec. Alright, hang on. I need a break. Hey guys, what I'm going to do is, I just want to say this thing. I think we can determine that it's actually inside is hollow because we've seen it squashed and change shape and everything, which it couldn't do if it was solid on the inside. It's not, it is hollow. And what I want to say is, when it's been activated to broadcast the image of the moon, it's like a holographic image. But I believe in the Two Sun production, as I said, these things can do more. That's why I've never, ever will ever say that it's anything other than a mechanism. Because in the Two Sun synopsis, I believe that it is capable of generating like a big orange heat ball, if you like, on the inside. Or it just broadcasted a brilliant holographic image of the sun. And again, because there's absolutely no sun rays and no sunlight between the camera and the 1 and 2 suns, of course it's not the sun. It just looked like an orange heat ball. So maybe that was just another brilliant broadcast, or the mechanisms rings can turn and do this and that, and as I said, they can geo-engineer the internal of the mechanism, or manipulate the internal to generate a heat ball. Do anything, God knows. But I wanted to point that out. I'm just going to quickly run through the snaps for you. You just have a little look at these and then we'll move on. These are the stills I took of it going through its process. You can see the jaws. See, look at that. Imagine that for a 2-sunner if we cap that one. 2-sun. What a 2-sun cap. Raw footage. No smudge. Raw footage. Look at that. Imagine capping that. But again, see the flexibility of it. We've gone through it like 4 tyres, outer tyres going around and at a depth at the same time. So on 4 tyres on the outside of each tyre, but also going forwards or backwards, if you like, in the depth of the 4 tyres as well. That's a beauty. Oh, look at that. So now knowing what we know too, I'll just play, and even that I have to sort through. I'll just play this again for you, and then we'll move on to some further analysis. Knowing what you know now, which is what I already had in my mind filming the whole thing. Look at this. Absolutely. Huh, it looks like the moon now trying to break through. Sure wasn't the moon a minute ago. These round rings around the outside. Guy says unbelievable. He saw it. That was amazing. There's no way that was the moon. Absolutely not.
Here's this thing mimicking the moon again. I saw it coming up and it wasn't the moon. It didn't look like the moon, that's for sure. Look at it now with the red glow around the outside again. See that? That's the same red glow. It's the mechanism. That is the mechanism.
Look at the jaws.
There's no way that was the moon. That's artificial.
I should have said technological.
Oh, the water was just like cheery thick whitewash out in the middle of the ocean. It was amazing.
Hello. Pretty good. Just hang on a sec, please. Sorry about that, guys. Phone rang. Now let me just finish this off because I want you to hear again that bit about the whitewash.
Oh, the water was just like cheery thick whitewash out in the middle of the ocean. It was amazing.
Okay. Let's close that. Now, let's move on to the interesting stuff. What I want to focus on quickly is this business about when it's flat in the middle, you know, is that indicative of there being mass or not? I think I've shown resoundingly now that the mechanism is flexible and it is so flexible and bendy that in the inside of all those rings it must actually be hollow. And of course the emboss there shows that it goes through. And if we also go to this, which is the actual solarizing, see the way the rings go, they go backwards in depth, but inside is hollow and it's flexible. It can generate a light image or it can generate a heat ball in there. It could probably, might even be a Stargate, who knows. But anyway, what I want to also validate with this is this business of when there's light. See how it's only ever dead flat when there's light there, ever, okay? And that is dead flat. Remember, that's the solarized emboss, which means the light's been switched off and we've embossed it and it's flat again, which is indicative of an emptiness to me. But again, it can generate things inside there as well. Now let's just close this, and this is what I mean. This is a picture, remember I took of the piloted craft in that other video which I pointed at the end, and we can see the little shadows of the pilots and their little heads, but see how that was with the light turned on, and then I done the analysis and that was with the light turned off, solarized, and see inside there with that light turned off is a solid craft. Look, it's solid within the light. There is it with the light on, with its light on, light off, solid craft, body heat came up there on one of the three pilots. Have a look at this one again, solarized, light off, solid craft. Look at the body heat on them there. 1, 2, 3. You see a little head, little head, little head, little head. There might be 4. But see the solidness? Look at this outer shell. That was incredible technology. You've got to watch that video. Mind-blowing. But have a look at this. Here is something I really want to show you. You ready? Here is the craft emboss. See how it's not flat in the middle? And what are we noticing here? Is this the mechanism being used to produce, as I said, inside like a little Stargate, a craft or a similar device? Geez, that's all come up now as well. But that's solid, isn't it? That's not light, that's solid, that's real. It's like the same technology is being used to create or generate. So there might be more than one mechanism. This is indicative of, this is the technology that's being utilised by whoever's utilising this. Isn't that amazing? I'm only going to make that jump because we got this notch here we've seen before, and we've got this bar. Isn't that incredible? But that's not a light. That's actually solid with inside. We've shown it. Isn't that incredible? And we've got the body heat of the pilots. So that's real. And we got the two lines again. Oh my goodness, what is this technology? What is this technology? It's incredible, isn't it? I'd say that they're utilising the same sort of technology to, like almost like a Stargate, or a way of popping in and out. Because if you watch that video, you'll see the way it just popped out. Quite incredible, isn't it? You can see the underbit of the craft there too. I mean, it looks solid there alone, but in those images. So that's why I wanted to point that out. But isn't that incredible? Just seeing that there reminds me of what we saw on, or what we're seeing is, because remember that this was above the water too, that big snapshot underwater, underwater submerged massive object that I first saw come up. Remember the big black thing that came up on the angle, which is indicative of the hand clap. Maybe not only can it release the mechanism, but it can release UFOs, which we see here. Isn't this incredible? But there's something else I now want to show you, and that's this 674 or 670. It doesn't matter, we can go 674 or 322. We'll go 322 because this is interesting. I took this is the real sun, because there was this sources. See that? Look at this one here, cloaked within the inside. Now I'll show you what I mean by this business of light. Okay, indicative of when it's hollow on the inside, which the mechanism is, and which we've now seen possibly the underwater major mothercraft is releasing both the mechanism and the UFOs, and they're using similar technologies. But have a look at this. That was hidden in there. If we do an auto fix to the real sun, it's just the real sun. But see the rays? And there's that. So we'll cancel that. We'll go over. Now when we invert it, boom, see the saucer? It was hiding in the sunlight. So you can't see them when they're hiding in the sunlight because you can't look at the sun. But look at the difference with the sun on this next to the two sun one, which was in that video. There was no sun rays or nothing. Now there's something else I want to now show you. Emboss it. This is what I want to show you, and I got a better one. See the flat coming down here? The rays go flat, okay, as well as the main thingo. There's a better one for this, even better, but the rays go flat. That was what I wanted to show you. And when I solarize the real sun, notice there's no blue rings, there's no mechanism, okay, because that's the real sun. Now let's close that. Let's go and have a quick look for the one that, this is it. Check out this ray cutting across the building. Real sun has rays, right? This is what I wanted to point out. Watch this. Emboss. Look at that let's blow it up. Well, again, let's go back quickly. See, look, we know the sun's round, but look how it's all flat because of just light. When it's just light, and see the flatness of all the rays, the sun would only be a circle. But look at the flatness, and most importantly, look at the flatness here. As it loses potential, it loses flatness, but that was the building. It cut across the building, but it's flat, see? So this is the point I'm making. When we go in here and we look at this object, wasn't just light. It wasn't just light. It wasn't just light. It wasn't just light, because we solarized it, boom, something remained on the inside. That solarizing to me shows you what's emanating the light. That's what solarizing does. It shows you the source of the light, the source of the heat. Okay? With the light itself turned off, that's why you get the body heat and you get what's emanating the light, which was the craft, using that same technology that we've seen used with the mechanism, although the mechanism's hollow because the mechanism's like tyres. We've said that. Here we go again, raka raka, and when we emboss it, it's not flat. There is something solidly in there using similar technology. I don't know what these outer bars or ring, it looks straight there, but I've got those in some of those other photos where that thing is curved, where you can see that the ring is curved. That might just be one straightness of it, but it's these things are popping in and out of our dimension using this technology. That's why I think the mechanism could be like a bit of a stargate or a time-space warper, as well as a geoengineering type mechanism, as well as a image broadcaster. Wow, unbelievable, solid. Okay, whereas when we go to our sunlight, which is this, we get the flatness, because there is, in this instance, you could go, oh, well, that means that whole sun's hollow. That's what I'm saying. I don't know whether it's indicative of mass, but it certainly shows in this case the light spread. Okay, the reason I'm saying all of this is because the only thing that came back from the people that made the two sun video was, out of the 15 points that resoundingly showed that it was the mechanism, like I've done on this occasion, I said, oh, and like the mechanism, it had the big blue rings and it seemed hollow on the inside. And they said, oh no, that's mass. The sun's got mass, you're wrong. Well, it's like the mechanism's got mass. That didn't prove that it was the sun or it wasn't the sun. But the point I'm saying is, light, it wasn't necessarily indicative of mass because it's flat, because light will go flat. Light will go flat. And there's no mass in a sunbeam. Look at all this flatness down here. That is all just sunbeam. And it's flat. Anyway, and when we have, one more time for the viewers at home, when we have mechanism, and that's solarized, again, no blue rings, that's the sun, it's not the mechanism. Okay, it's not the mechanism. That was the mechanism. That was the mechanism. Again, look at the mechanism embossed. And that's the other thing, thank you. Notice when it's the mechanism on an emboss that has colour. No colour. No colour on the actual sun's emboss, because it's not the mechanism. Okay, now we're getting close to the end of this, but just one more important point. And of course, here was the coloured moon, that was inverted, where I'd done lots of analysis pointing out all these structures, and this structure here, I thought I'd done a beauty with that. I'll show you where to see all of that. But see how the moon underneath, that was with the noise. See, I noticed the edging here. This is a cloaking. The white's a cloaking light. Again, an image cloaker. The moon's in colour. It's been now shown by me and others, and again, look at the mechanism here, look at the big like pyramid thing there. I pointed out all these other things. See what I mean by this upper capping? See, that's on top of what's below, which is green. The moon's green. It's green and brown like Earth. This is a capping. Look at the height of it there. That's just a capping, a cloaking capping they're putting over it so you can't see it. And that's why I said, I never said Neil Armstrong and that never went to the moon, and I've never said that, but I have always said, and I'll say it again, the footage we saw was never of the moon. We have never officially seen any moon footage, because you can't tell me they flew 480 zillion gazillion miles to go and land in the equivalent of the Sahara Desert on Earth and then send the pictures back and tell you, oh, it looks like that, all white and nothing happening on, when there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of square kilometres of green. They would have landed right there and shown us all the green looking like Earth, not bloody in the middle of the equivalent of the desert. That's why the footage was bogus. Anyway, give that a look. One more thing, please, and then I'll let you go. I'll let you go. One more thing. What I want to do is, this is important, okay? It verifies my thing that the moon's been put, that the mechanism's been deliberately risen in front of the normal rising celestial moon to block it out. Why? Because of this. We can pick anything. It doesn't matter. We can pick anything we want to. Let's just pick one photo. Let's pick one. Actually, no. Let's do it this way. Clips. Raw clips. Raw clips in details. First clip was at 6:16. Second clip was at 6:20. So okay, there was a 4-minute gap in that, and then the next clip was at 6:14. Because as I said, I'm watching the heights, but you can see I got it all from the start. From the start at 6:16 to the first notch turning on to 6:24 when we started to see the real thingo. Okay, now let's go here. I've bookmarked this for you. Recently bookmarked. Moon rise, moon set. Okay, let's have a look. That was the 14th, remember? That was the 14th of June. That's the 16th of June. Surely I can go back a week. Otherwise I'll pause it. And why can't I go back a week now? That's Walsville. Well, it's saying there that there wasn't even supposed to be a moon. It's saying here moon rise times in June is the 16th of June. That footage was taken on the 14th of June at 8:29. But I think that's a bit past tense. I think we need to go all columns. Show. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. 14th of June 2014. Moon rise, 6:14 p.m. Moon rise, 6:14 p.m. See it right there. First appearance of the mechanism, 6:16 p.m. 16th the 4th, 6:16 p.m. It fully started coming through, not at 6:20, but at about 6:21 on the mechanism started to look like the top of a moon coming out. Remember, it didn't look anything like a moon before 6:21. It looked like little wedges being activated, which again is the mechanism. We've showed the undersea mechanism, the big jaw that came out. That's what I saw, that jaw that went up. That's why I said it came out like a plate on an angle. That exactly now verifies what I was saying. Huge big whitewash. The beast come out, opened its jaws, and out popped the mechanism as it was expanded. Its flexibility was expanded. Okay, and by 6:16 first notch, about 6:21, point being is they had it timed perfectly
with the moonrise. And this is southern hemisphere where I am, Sydney. I made sure I went Sydney. Now of course there would be some tiny variance within that, depending on what part of Sydney, how close to the coast you were. I was right on the actual shore edge, so you'd think I'd see it, you know, a few minutes earlier than someone, say, Parramatta or Deep West, obviously, because they're going backwards off the coast. But then depending on how far you are out towards the horizon, you'll get it a minute or so earlier. So that was just the other thing I wanted to just show you, to show you that they are using the mechanism. One of its uses of the mechanism is to come up directly in front of where the moon would normally be seen. Why? Because they don't want you and me to see, they don't want us to see this. They don't want us to see the coloured moon. Okay. Alright guys, I'll leave you with it. I hope you appreciate it. Again, I'm not forcing anyone to watch this. You can see I haven't made up anything. I haven't exaggerated about anything. Absolutely nothing. You know, I've validated everything I've said, and I'm even glad now I've even validated to you, because I didn't do the embossing analysis on that piloted UFO, MH moon, CC moon, etc. clip, but the embossing has not only verified the inside of the thing is solid and the presence of the people is solid, but it looks like now we can even validate that the UFO technology involved is they're using, the mechanism is using a type of technology that they also use for their UFO craft to pop in and out of the dimension or whatever it is. Because just like, yeah, okay, I'll leave it at that. However they're manipulating time space. I mean, remember the Germans had flying saucers with exotic propulsion back in the 1920s and 30s. They were developing them and flying them. They were the Foo Fighters in World War II. There's reports that the first saucers were the UFO scare of 1888. I've heard this guy saying it all makes sense. So the solid state flying saucer is 80 years old. Now imagine 80 years of secret technology development. All I'm saying is, before you even introduce extra Earth-based terrestrials or even aliens, the whole thing may be aliens, I'm not knowing. The point I'm saying is, before you even scream aliens, secret Earth technology would be able to produce the mechanism by now. I have no doubt. I really don't. I don't have any doubt that secret Earth technology could probably produce the mechanism by now and produce craft, piloted craft. And if they can't, then it's obviously extra Earth-based terrestrials, or maybe even non-terrestrial. Alien to me is non-terrestrial. Extraterrestrial is the wrong word to use for alien. I believe extraterrestrial is like extras in a movie, separate to the main cast. We are the main cast. There are extras to the main cast. They are extra Earth-based terrestrials. Watch for the logical moon, my logical influence theory. I'll just quickly go to my videos where you can find all this stuff. Here we go. That was the one before. That was the hidden trickery generates two suns. I made it private for the reasons I mentioned. I put so much effort into that, proving it was the mechanism. That's my shot. You can see the big blue rings. It was the mechanism. Intriguing, that's the one. An intriguing UFO, H-moon, moon presentation, HM moon. Mechanism as in holographic producing mechanism in that instance, but it's not a holographic moon, it's a mechanism. a mechanism that can be the moon, it can be the sun, it can be all sorts of things, and we're finding out now, because that's solid, that's a great solid ufological synopsis of a piloted UFO. It's a brilliant, well, I don't know if it's brilliant or not, but it really, it undisputably shows the existence of unidentified flying exotic technology in our skies, regardless of who's piloting it. And today we've had a little extra verifier that they're using this, and this even backs up now that we've, anyway, that this highly advanced exotic mechanism technology is being used in some way to also enable these UFOs to move about the way they do, displaying their extremely advanced display of exotic technology. This is the bizarre object moon producing mechanism. That was the original moon mechanism one. Have a gaze at that if you haven't already. And there's more. These are all genuine UFO stuff. I've discovered a couple of extra things about a couple of these that take it way beyond just UFO manifesting, but I won't say any more about that for now. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, press like if you like this stuff. Look, I'm not trying to con anyone. That's why I do analysis. I'm not just someone who uploads a video of what looks like something strange lit up in the sky that people can just dish and go, oh, it's this or it's that. I do the analysis, and I also do the analysis so that I don't end up looking like a wally. I don't want to put up stuff with no analysis claiming it's this and that, because I know it is, because from my history, that's why I know it is. But I want to make sure that if I'm going to put it on there, that someone, you know, just in case I've made a misinterpretation. That's why I back up everything with analysis, so that it's like now I can rest easy with this. Like, I know that I've shown what I'm saying is true. No one can come on and do one of those awful trolling comments saying, oh, bullshit. Sorry, I shouldn't use that language. Saying, you know, BS. No, I've shown it's not BS at all. And the other thing I'd like to say is I can never ever understand people that go and watch stuff that they then jump on and comment on and go, oh, this is rubbish, this is this is that, rah, 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 rah. It's like, man, are you kidding me? And they call you a Wahlberg or whatever. It's like, you're calling me a Wahlberg with all these brilliant videos covering every topic you can ever imagine on YouTube. I would never waste my time going and watching something that went for an hour or an hour and a two or whatever, 6 minutes or whatever, on something that I thought was bogus. Let alone then go on there and put a bogus trolling comment on it. I mean, why would you do that? And then call them Wallies. That's Wally. No offence to the Wallies out there. Walrus B. Burger. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Press like if you like it, because I put a lot of effort into these, and I always need encouragement. And if you subscribe, which I suggest you do, you will be the first on the block to see the next big booming presentation of mind-blowing, reality-shattering, world-viewing scenarios. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for watching.